Hey everyone, Coops here from the whole box and dice. What a 24 hours it has been since the last set of spoilers. I'm just going to have a quick sip from my coffee because I just need to steel myself before we get into this. Put the card up. This is Gideon of the Trials. 1 generic, double white. +1, until your next turn, prevent all damage target permanent would deal. 0. Until end of turn, Gideon of the Trials becomes a 4/4 human soldier creature with indestructible. That's still a planeswalker. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to him. 0. You get an emblem with, as long as you control a Gideon planeswalker, you can't lose the game, and your opponents can't win the game. Oh yeah, cool. Wait, hang on. You can't lose, and they can't win. Okay. What does this mean? How does this work? Like, you've got 5 life. You get dealt 5 damage. Are you on 0 life now, but held in check because of the fact you've got a Gideon? When that Gideon goes, do you now instantly lose the game? Why? I'm going to dub these people Brian and Jessica. Brian and Jessica from Wizards R&D. Why did you do this? Because most importantly, Oath of the Gatewatch and Zendikar was supposed to rotate out, which means we wouldn't have Grasp of Darkness, which is the only thing that interacts with his second ability now. And a 4/4 for 3 is better than a 5/5 for 4. And you're going to have the Planeswalker deck Gideon as well. Was this a sneaky ploy to sell more Planeswalker decks? Because I'm just going to Lost Legacy this one, just have a little Planeswalker deck on. No one knows the name of that card. No one's going to be able to cast Lost Legacy effectively. Oh. Hats off. Gideon, the standard definer, nay, the standard defiler, is here. Welcome to Magic the Gideon-ing, the Gideoning, the Gideoning. Magic the Gideoning, this is the thing. Mono white Gideon, modern Gideon, vintage Gideon. Replace all formats. Oh, what are you playing? Oh, I'm going to head down for some F&M, you know. Oh, yeah. You're going to play Modern this week? Nah, I'm playing Gideon. Cool. Good luck with that. Pull a foil one of these from your box. Oh, I can't wait to see what that's worth. This card is just nuts. I'm excited and terrified at the same time. Brian and Jessica, I hate you and I love you at the same time. Please make Lily as crazy as this. I want 2 equally nut planeswalkers going at the same time. Bring it on. They also sport some other cards, so we should probably talk about them. If you haven't seen them, I'm going to catch you up to speed. Let's jump straight into it. First up, we have As Foretold. It is the mythic enchantment for 3, 2 generic and a blue. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a time counter on it. Once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a spell you cast with converted mana cost X or less, where X is the number of time counters on As Foretold. Yes! Who cares about Gideon? I want this. I want this because it's X or less, and it's each turn. I get like 4 or 5 counters, and that's a counter spell in my turn, that's a draw spell in my turn, that's a counter spell in your turn, that's a draw spell in your turn. Each turn, for free. Do I want to play blue, green, black, just so I can quickly, power up the amount of counters, play things like Morphous Revolutionary and the blue thing that flies that goes through for damage and puts another counter so I can bring spells online? Maybe actually. This card is nuts. I really hope this can be a thing. It's probably more Commander-centered, but I think we can make this a real thing, especially with the Blue God. Tick, 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 Essence Scatter, bring back hardcore blue control, please. Because there's that Gideon thing that we saw. Next card we're going to be looking at. This one is Combat Celebrant. It's the Mythic Human Warrior for 3, 2 generic and a red. If Combat Celebrant hasn't been exerted this turn, you may exert it as it attacks. When you do, untap all other creatures you control, and after this phase, there is an additional combat phase. This is like a much better version of Lightning Runner. Every time they print this red mythic, like the green one's really easy. Make a big green thing that just kills stuff, and they're like the blue one's easy. Like give it some kind of ability that makes your counter decks have a chance to win the game. The red ones are always so tricky to like towing the line between Don't make mono red a thing, but make it good. I think this is actually really good because we'll see the red Cartouche, which couples with this perfectly, comes online for 4 mana, which is the same cost as the God. So 2 pretty awesome, almost top of the curves. Probably just squeeze Glorybringer in there as well. I really like this card. It's going to die, but who cares? You can just exert it because it's not a big deal. It's got 1 toughness, so it doesn't matter if it's going to be tapped next turn. It's probably going to die. But everything else gets to go again. That's amazing. This double combat step is always awesome if you can get it done. And if you've got flying and trample and first strike and all those horrible abilities, yes, big ticks. Mono red is coming back. Blue control's coming back. Mono red's coming back. Mono white's going to dominate the format. Forget about that. The rest of these decks, the tier 2s, these will be a lot of fun. I really like this card. I really hope this has, I hope this sees some constructive play because I think it's pretty awesome. Up next, we've got a not so exciting card, but we've got to cover all the cards. This one's Painful Lesson for 3, 2 generic and a black. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. Pretty standard. I don't think it's going to see any play. There are better cards that weren't too overpowered that have previously been printed, and this is not as good as any of them. Maybe if you didn't have the life trigger on there, or if there was a scry or something like that, for you, that's all right. These cards exist because there's like 260 odd cards in the set. You can't just have all bombs. Plus, I spent all the time building Gideon, so the rest of this is just kind of like slapped together last minute, I guess. Next card, and some graveyard hate out of nowhere. This one is Watchers of the Dead. It's the artifact creature cat for 2. It's a 2/2. Exile Watchers of the Dead. Each opponent chooses 2 cards in his or her graveyard and exiles the rest. This is kind of cool. Like, we don't have a lot of graveyard hate. I like that you can exile it straight away or in response to it being targeted. I don't like that your opponent gets to choose the 2 cards because obviously they pick the 2 cards it's most difficult. Delirium's not going to be around for too much longer, but maybe this is a thing, like it gets rid of potentially a whole bunch of Embalm cards out of their graveyard, so there's definitely got to be value. The split cards, for example, they've got to make a decision where they had a plan to recast them. I don't think this is the worst card. I think this is, this is the realistic level of graveyard hate we're going to get in Standard, so I'm okay with this. I'm glad it's actually Exile. It'd be ironic if you could sack this and put an artifact and a creature in your graveyard for your Delirium deck whilst screwing your opponent's graveyard, so thank you for not making it just sacrifice. Next card, and we're going to jump into the Cartouche and the Trial cycle here, and we've got pretty much the couple to the rest of these. So we're going to start off with Trial of Solidarity. It's whenever Trial of Solidarity enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +2/+1 and gain Vigilance until end of turn. Whenever a Cartouche enters the battlefield, return it to your hand. I'm not going to go over that for each one. This is just the same for each, but the white Cartouche is, which we've already seen, when it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white warrior creature token with Vigilance. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has first strike. I don't really know about this one. It doesn't seem as good as something like Always Watching, which is permanent +1/+1, but obviously not to token creatures, so is it worth it for that extra power? It's not double white. I guess that's good. You can cast it again, but then you're tying up 3 mana, but you get the token and you get the extra first strike and an extra bit of power. Yeah, I'm not my favourite one by any stretch of the imagination. Trial of Knowledge, we already saw. It's the enter the battlefield, draw cards. And the Cartouche that couples with it is get another card. So draw another card on this one. Cartouche of Knowledge for 2, generic and a blue. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has flying. I like this in terms of getting in for a little bit of extra damage. Making something a flyer is obviously always good to deal with some of the threats that we see in the air. Card draw is always nice. This one isn't bad. The Cartouche of Ambition is the black Cartouche to go with the black Trial of Ambition. And enchant creature you control. When Cartouche of Ambition enters the battlefield, you may put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and it has lifelink. This I quite like. Take out something with 1 toughness, or maybe had 2 or 3 toughness, and that's been weakened down with the -1/-1 counters. Pick up lifelink on one of your creatures. Definitely underrated mechanic in my opinion. Trial of Ambition's nuts though. 2 mana, generic and a black. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent sacks a creature. And obviously when the Cartouche enters the battlefield, this comes back to your hand, so you can get that replayability. It's kind of like an Oath of Liliana, but cheaper. I definitely think this is a strong Ambition cycle, like Trial and Cartouche cycle. The Trial of Zeal is the red one, 2 generic and a red. When it enters the battlefield, deals 3 damage to target creature or player. And then obviously when the Cartouche enters the battlefield, return it to your hand. The trial itself is not very great, but the Cartouche is amazing. Enchant creature you control. When it enters the battlefield, target creature can't block this turn. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and haste. I just want to cut away from the graphics here for a second because we saw the better version of the Lightning Runner earlier. And everything was great about that card, except it didn't have haste. But it only costs 3 mana for a 4/1. You can now put this on it, pick up some extra power and toughness. You can also give it haste. That's great. You can now take out a creature from your opponent's block pool, and at till end of turn, you're getting a second combat phase. You've now taken potentially their best blocker out for 2 combat swings. You can now exert the creature straight away because you can move to combat because you've got haste. The Zeal is not very good, but the Cartouche is amazing. We're getting really close to mono red, guys. This could be exciting, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting close. Last one in the cycle. This one is the Trial of Strength. 3, 2 generic and a green. When it enters the battlefield, create a 4/2 green beast token. And the Cartouche that couples with it is also for 3, 2 generic and a green. When it enters the battlefield, you may have enchanted creature fight target creature and opponent controls. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has trample. This is really good as well. The black trial is really solid because of the sack effect. And the Cartouche is pretty good as well because you can potentially take something out, pick up lifelink on your creature. I really like that. The red Cartouche is nuts, but the Zeal is not as strong. The green is just all-round value. 4/2 beast token is awesome. I like that you get the Prey Upon fight spell when you play this. Plus you pick up the extra power and toughness and trample. I think the green one's really solid, certainly in limited, but maybe even mono green gets some play out of this, or any real decks that just want to abuse like green-red. Can we get a green-red aggro deck that is at the top of the pops? Maybe. Some of these cards are certainly going to help. Jumping into some of the split cards now. We saw a few of these printed today, and I think they're actually pretty cool. First one we're going to look at is called Cut to Ribbons, and this is definitely the way that they should be pronounced. And this one is probably one of the better ones, I think. The first one is 2 mana, generic and a red, deals 4 damage to target creature, but only at sorcery speed, which is annoying. And then the aftermath from your graveyard is each opponent loses X life, and it's X and double black. This I quite like, certainly those dead turns in red-black. Maybe Mardu wants to play this, I'm not sure, but certainly red-black, you're sitting on a whole bunch of mana and you can just gain a whole bunch of life, which that's always good. So I don't know if this is going to get play. I don't like that they're just kind of like mashing, not failed spells, but spells that didn't see a whole bunch of play in the hope that maybe it brings something back, but we'll see. We'll definitely see with this one. Next one is Rags to Riches. The top one is 2 generic double black, sorcery speed. All creatures get -2/-2. And then for 7, 5 generic double blue. Each opponent chooses a creature he or she controls, and you gain control of those creatures. This one I don't get. It's like, I don't know, in Commander potentially, but 7 mana's a lot. I don't understand why you wouldn't play your Henny's Expertise over this, and you get the free cast. I don't think this blue-black control deck wants to play this, but I could be wrong. It just, maybe if it was -3/-3 at least, or -4/-4, like Give Me Languish with the spell on the other side. Yeah, we'll see. I don't think this is going to see play, but it's too hard to tell this early on. Last one is, and this one is really, really cool, mainly because of Gideon, but also because red is just red. This is Insult to Injury. Both are 2 generic and a red, and both at sorcery speed. Insult is damage can't be prevented this turn. If a source you control would deal damage this turn, it deals double instead. And then Injury is Aftermath. Injury deals 2 damage to target creature and 2 damage to target player. This I really, really like. Firstly because it's mono, so it has a home just in mono red, and we've been talking about that. I like that this counteracts Gideon's ability. And everyone's like, oh, it's not an instant speed, so it's no good. It's fine. Gideon's ability is until their next turn. So you can interact with Gideon after playing this, and the prevent damage doesn't apply anymore. So you can deal damage to Gideon. That's very good. It also, the double, that's awesome as well. You know, you can potentially get off. It only comes in with 3 loyalty, which is only 4 loyalty if they've +1'd it. It's not hard to get a 2, power creature go through to Gideon. You know, that's a possibility. They +1 Gideon thinking, oh, Gideon's safe. You can respond to this. It's not hard to take Gideon out. So maybe there's a little bit of hope for Standard with something like this. I think this is actually playable. I certainly do think this is playable. Last card we're going to look at, in case they've spoiled something between me starting this video and lining all these cards up. This one is Scarab Feast. Just 1 black at instant speed. Exile up to 3 target cards from a single graveyard. This is better than the other one. This is definitely better than the weird kind of creepy cat gargoyle watches. They look pretty cool though. You get to pick them. That's awesome. Instant speed. That's great as well. So you can take them out of the graveyard before your opponent has a chance to interact with them the next turn. Really great if you want to mess with things like Delirium, even though it's not going to be around for much longer. Big fan of that. You can take out some of these split cards or some of the Embalm cards that they're going to want to bring back. I think this card will definitely see play. And it's only a common, so that's kind of awesome as well. But that's it. That is a crazy day. There's been some amazing stuff. I think the red creature is going to see some play. I love the blue enchantment. Gideon is Gideon, and it's just absolutely nuts. The cycles of the trials and the cartouches actually look playable in certain builds. That's a big tick. Some graveyard hate finally. Ironic that it's not, Delirium should have been gone, but that's okay. This is all good stuff. I'm really excited, but let me know in the comments. Is the card that I've missed? Is something that I haven't latched onto? Is Gideon not that good? I don't think so, but everyone is entitled to an opinion. I've been Coops. This is the Whole Box and Dice. Amonkhet spoiler season. Hope you're enjoying the videos. Can't wait to keep bringing you more. Peace.